today I wanted to talk about like routine while traveling versus being in a structured environment, a familiar environment. And then I have a number of other topics that have been coming up for me in relation to that, and then kind of complete separate things. So I was in Bali for 2 weeks and a half. Bali is an island, part of Indonesia. And while I was there, I was running a shit ton because I'm training, and I was meditating a bunch because I am committed to 2 hours of meditation every day following my Vipassana retreat, which I recorded an episode about maybe 5 or 6 episodes back, my experience with Vipassana and why I'm continuing the practice. So I was traveling, but there was a significant amount of work on my plate in that sense. There were still things that I had to get done every day. And I still felt a little bit unstable, unsettled. Like I didn't have a strong routine and structure under what I was doing. And that could be a little uncomfortable. So now that I'm home, and I've been home for almost a full week at this point, back in Austin, Texas, about 5 days, it's getting nice. It feels nice to move my way back into routine and start to actually have the feeling that like what I'm doing is building on itself, and I can set into place things now that are going to actually pay dividends. Rather than when I'm traveling, it feels like any work I do or anything I do is just as good as what it is. There's no additional, if that makes any sense. So like when I'm here, I'm like, okay, if I like start to go to bed earlier, I'm going to build in that pattern because I'm at my house and it's like environmental, versus when I'm traveling, if I go to bed earlier one day, like it feels like it's very much isolated. It's like one day I went to bed early and that's great, but it's not like I can build on positive patterns because there's not that environment, because I'm only there for however long. So I did want to talk about ways to find routine and structure while traveling. And I know for me, there are certain things that immediately kind of fall out the bottom and just like I let go of. And so how do you deal with that? How do you create some kind of structure? And my first question is like, do you want structure? Is there a need for having it? Because sometimes having a vacation where you just forget normal life and let go and be a piece of shit and do nothing, that can be okay. And of course, I don't actually mean a piece of shit, because relaxing is positive in itself. Having time away can be helpful, but deciding what kind of traveling you're doing is important first. Like, is this something outside of my normal life? Or is this something that I want to integrate and be like a component of it? So for me, this was like a 2.5 week trip. So it was short enough that it could be seen as this is just a special isolated thing. It's not something I need to work into like my life and really like analyze and optimize. But if I was traveling for longer, if it was, a month, 2 months, 6 months, some people are traveling all the time, then it becomes a lot more important that you actually figure out how to live this way while you're traveling. So the things for me that I noticed were dietary habits, caffeine habits, and entertainment. Let's just say entertainment as a whole. So things like YouTube and Netflix, like when I was traveling, it was easier for me to just kind of be like, oh, it's, I'm in a new place. I don't have like any rules around what I can be doing. Can I be watching YouTube just because I'm bored? Sure. There's no rules here. Can I like watch Netflix tonight because I want to? And it's like, yeah, maybe that's okay. Again, it depends on what kind of trip you're looking for. Caffeine, I ended up drinking way more caffeine than I normally do. Typically, I'm trying to like keep a cap on that, keep it to 1 cup a day or something less, even breaking it down into like only a few times a week, having days without it. And on this trip, I was just like guzzling coffee. It was like, a Americano and then a double espresso and then maybe like a Diet Coke in the afternoon. The third was dietary. That's where I definitely was just more lax. Like I was eating sweets and like pizza, pasta, all this kind of stuff. Just things that I wouldn't eat if I was building it into like a pattern. If I was like, this is a normal day, what do I eat? It would not be that. So I was kind of taking advantage of the fact that I was in a different place and I knew that I didn't have like rules set in and this wasn't normal. So again, this is like the thing you have to decide, which is like, is this trip while you're traveling, is this a normal day? Do you want this to be normal life, or do you want this to be like a special thing that is outside of normal life? And that's important to decide that. Whatever you decide, that's going to kind of dictate how you live. If you decide this is a normal life, then you are probably going to want to set in some guidelines for yourself for how I'm going to live here. Am I working? Do I have like a training plan? Do I have some kind of exercise that I'm fitting in? Do I have other habits, routines that I want to make sure I'm hitting? Do I have like, a time that I want to wake up at, time that I want to go to sleep? sleep by, things like that. Versus if you're like, no, this is just pure vacation. This is a break from all of that shit. I'm not interested in structuring this at all. Then that's a completely different thing. And then you can be more lax and you can allow yourself these things with the knowledge that this is different. This is a separate part of my life. But also you have to recognize like you're not going to be productive. You might set in some bad habits. And yeah, that's just a calculation for you to make and for you to decide on.